Okay, am I a talent scout? Hello, I am the Irish guy, and okay, back in December 2021, on a previous channel which must not be named, I released a video predicting every current Premier League club's next breakout star. I mean, this was nearly 4 years ago now, so I think we can see now whether these shouts were actually ingenious, or whether they've aged like pumpkin juice in the sun. Right, let's go.
Arsenal Gabriel Martinelli. I'm going to call it. This man is going to leave behind the best Premier League legacy of any outfield Brazilian footballer in history. This boy is going to be an Arsenal legend. He's going to smack in 30 goals in the calendar year. He is the Brazilian Thierry Henry. Martinelli is going to be a better footballer than Marcus Rashford. Of all the Premier League footballers right now, this man is the most likely to win this.
Well, this isn't a bad shout. Lads, everybody knew that Gabriel Martinelli was incredibly talented at Arsenal 4 years ago. This wasn't making any sort of outlandish claims, like walking in a Pizza Hut and telling everyone that the teenage nerd behind the counter would one day be crowned King of Norway. No. Martinelli did go on to become an Arsenal star, and yes, after this video, his numbers went big. However, let's be real. He's still gonna be next out the Arsenal door before he's 25, isn't he? I was calling him the Brazilian Henry. No. Henry won Golden Boot. If Martinelli ever wins that award, then I will sellotape 9 bananas to my head for a week. It really looks like he's been slowly replaced at Arsenal. He's like when Woody got thrown under the bed. He's a good player, but is he an Arsenal star? He's had his time in the sun, and I now think that Arsenal fans talk about him with a sigh, as if they're remembering that their mum is serving up cauliflower pie for tea. Lads, I said he'd win a Ballon d'Or. However, it could be worse, because one of the comments in the comment section said this.
Charlie Patino of Arsenal?
Yeah, this wasn't just a rogue shout. It was like 20 times. I mean, I've never had that many people give me a hug in my life. Patino was seen as the next Wilshere, a saucy English Fabregas. Yeah, he's now 21 and just spent last season sitting on the bench for a Deportivo La Coruña team who were nearly relegated to the Spanish third tier. Boy, am I glad I didn't say Patino.
Aston Villa, Aaron Ramsey. Watch out for Aaron Ramsey. No, not the stale Welshman who's currently getting splinters on the Juventus bench.
Wow, this was back so long ago. That was back when the original Aaron Ramsey was at Juventus, and he's now in Mexico, having tea with Keylor Navas every day, but okay.
No, this is Jacob Ramsey's brother. I mean, I know 2019 was the year of the Longstaff brothers, but 2022 will be the year of the Ramsey brothers. By this time next year, both Jacob and Aaron will be playing week in, week out together in the Aston Villa midfield. Just you watch.
Lads, it's weird how I literally compared the Ramseys to the Longstaffs in this video. 3.5 years later, Jacob just replaced Sean on the Newcastle bench. But yeah, as for Aaron Ramsey, he since moved to Burnley and is now on loan at Leicester City in the Championship. I said both Ramseys would be in Villa's midfield. There's literally no Ramseys in Villa's midfield. Whoops.
Brentford, Josh Da Silva. Once he's back fit, trust me, just watch. After the summer break, this man is going to be an utter midfield star. But this time next year, he's going to have his first England cap under his belt. Just you watch.
I've cursed him. I've literally cursed his life. I said he'd be playing for England by now. Look, Josh Da Silva actually did play a lot of games for Brentford in 2022. He played 36 of Brentford's 38 league games in midfield. But he's had knee injuries and has only played 3 times since. And I wouldn't be shocked if he gives up and retires before Christmas. Oh dear.
Brighton, Jeremy Sarmiento. Trust me, revisit this in a year. And I promise you, the Ecuadorian Austin McBroom will be one of the most picked players in fantasy football.
One of the most picked players in fantasy football. I'm guessing not a single person picked him this summer. And if anyone out there actually did and plumped Jeremy Sarmiento into their fantasy football team, then they should immediately be dragged out of the kitchen by men in white coats, because they're probably also the same sort of deranged individual who decides that there's goblins living in his fridge. Out of all the ridiculous talent that Brighton have recently had on their books, and I seriously chose Jeremy Sarmiento as the one who's going to do bits. An Ecuador international winger, sure, who weirdly crammed in a bunch of England underage matches. Well, he's now 23 and just been chucked out to Italian club Cremonese on loan, where his signing has been massively outshadowed by Jimmy Vardy getting unveiled in a room of violins. Would it make more sense for that room to be filled with cancer Red Bull?
Burnley, Nathan Collins. But I actually think that when James Tarkowski leaves, either in January or the summer, then this 20-year-old Irish centre-half is going to excel as the partner for Ben Mee. Trust me, he's going to be solid, and he will establish himself as Shane Duffy's centre-back partner for Ireland as well. Trust me, Collins is going to be good.
Nathan Collins has done well. He's since become the most expensive Irish footballer of all time, twice, tying up £20 million moves to Wolves and Brentford, where he's since become the Bees captain. So yes, I am right. Collins has had a magnificent few years, but I really don't want to be nice about him this week, considering he just conceded a crucial penalty away to Armenia, which has absolutely burned our World Cup hopes in a tin of baked beans. So, next.
Chelsea, Xavier Mbiamba. He's a 19-year-old Dutch defender who arrived from Barcelona last year. I just have a feeling that a brick wall of a centre-half like him at his age, he's going to provide a cheap replacement for Antonio Rudiger. Trust me, he is next off the Chelsea conveyor belt.
A replacement for Antonio Rudiger. Rudiger has since joined Real Madrid and won the Champions League twice. Xavier Immobile was sold to FC Volendam for an undisclosed fee, sure, but I would imagine the transfer fee involved was no more than half a bag of Haribo. Chelsea fans wouldn't even remember having this former Barcelona academy centre back on their books, because guess what? He never played a single game. Mayumbia never made his Chelsea senior debut ever. I said he'd be the next breakout star. The next Van Dijk? Absolutely not. This Dutch egg is less of a Stamford Bridge legacy than that of a squirrel squashed by a lorry outside the ground. Okay, I actually hope that never actually happened. Sounds like if Ice Age was a horror film. But yeah, I don't know why I chose to gas up this guy. Clearly, he must be about as talented as seaweed. Well, either that or maybe he just has poor professionalism. Maybe he developed a case of the Sancho's early doors. I don't know, but oh, yowza.
Crystal Palace Emerick Eze. He is yet to start a match under Patrick Vieira, but I promise you, a fit and hungry Eze in January. And lads, give it a year, and Palace's number 10 is going to be the star of Sellers Park. And lads, next autumn, he's going to make his full England debut as an audition for the 2022 World Cup. Just watch.
Yes! Emerick Eze has been absolutely class ever since. I remember when an injury destroyed his first England call-up in 2021, and I thought that was the closest he'd ever get to the international squad. That he wouldn't come back the same player. A bit like when Saido Berahino once sat on Roy Hodgson's bench at England. Now, Eze has been electric ever since, getting better with each season. He just scored the winning goal in the FA Cup final, became a Crystal Palace legend, and tied up a dream move to Arsenal. Yeah, he's been class.
Everton Lewis Dobbin. Yeah, you're probably all screaming at me until I'm blue in the face for not picking Anthony Gordon. Yeah, I know he's shown glimpses in an Everton kit, but he's a 20-year-old attacking midfielder who still hasn't scored a single goal. And lads, he's nearly 30 games deep, and they didn't even score on loan for Preston last season. We're approaching Tony Hibbert levels of end product. Instead, I'm gonna go for Lewis Dobbin. He's an 18-year-old striker, a goal machine for the reserves. I don't know, I think he'll score maybe 3 or 4 goals next year.
What? Here is me fully making up my mind that Anthony Gordon was an ordinary strawberry sandwich because they failed to score a goal on loan at Preston. Where's Lewis Dobbin then? The guy who I tipped to rip it up at Everton. Oh yes, still searching for his first goal on loan at Preston. I made this video a year before Gordon earned a £45 million move to Newcastle. And he's now arguably first choice left wing pick for Thomas Tuchel with England on that left wing. I mean, don't forget the German tried to bring him to Chelsea too. I really spoke about Gordon as if he's the end product of scrambled egg. And to be fair, it's kind of true, because in 2025, Gordon still hasn't scored a goal of any description for over 200 days. That's still kind of true, but to say he'd be outperformed by Dobbin, he's since been sold to Aston Villa in a deal dodgier than your postman blowing you a kiss, because this £10 million signing is never ever going to play for Villa. That transfer stinks worse than a bin bag full of dead beavers. He's a 22-year-old winger with less than 10 career goals. Next.
Leeds Charlie Cresswell. It's mental how young he is, but I think he will seize his chance in 2022. And by the end of the year, this 19-year-old schoolboy is going to be a first-choice Leeds United centre-half, learning under one of the most brilliant tactical brains in the game. Just watch.
Charlie Cresswell didn't play a single minute for Leeds in 2022. But to be fair, he was still a teenage centre-back. What he has done, though, since is excellent. He was barely given a sniff at Ellen Road, sure, but he then moved to Toulouse for less than £4 million in what looks like one of the most stupid sales in Leeds United's history, because he's been quality in France, and he also has since helped the England under-21s win 2 Euros back-to-back, and he was just named in the Euro under-21 team of the tournament, and he almost completed a £13 million switch to West Ham last month. Cresswell has absolutely blossomed into a brilliant centre-back. He could have been Leeds United's modern-day Ben White the sequel, and I think the next England manager, after Tuchel's short fling, he absolutely gives Cresswell his senior debut. This is a quality shout.
Leicester, Kieran Dewsbury Hall. Listen, Dewsbury Hall is clearly a late developer, but there are signs that he's the next James Maddison, so I'm going to call it. I think he'll score his first Premier League goal in January, kick on from there to establish himself as one of the first names on Leicester's team sheet.
Kieran Dewsbury Hall is absolutely a late developer. It only feels like he's been around 5 minutes. I mean, the Republic of Ireland are sniffing around wanting him to declare for us. Well, guess what? He just turned 27. What? Yeah, he's more than halfway through his career. Where has he been? His career is going by quicker than the Simpsons movie. Honestly, didn't that feel like just a slightly longer episode? Anyway, he got relegated at Leicester, then moves to Chelsea and becomes a world champ. And I mean, people think he was like a modern day Danny Drinkwater, who barely got more than 5 minutes on the pitch at Stamford Bridge. He played 36 times last season. He played more times last season than Frank Lampard managed in Ancelotti's last season at the club. Isn't that weird? Anyway, he's since gone to Everton and has been class, so get it!
Liverpool, Tyler Morton. Tyler Morton just made his Liverpool debut in the field away at AC Milan. I mean, who does that? Honestly, 2022 is going to be the year of Tyler Morton. He'll play 20 plus games for Liverpool in all competitions next year. He'll win his first England cap. Watch out for him. He is the heir to Fabinho.
Am I talking talking about Tyler Morton again? It's the third time this week. Seriously, nobody in the history of the internet has ever made 3 separate videos about Morton in their life. Nobody. I mean, if I mention this 22-year-old potato one more time, I'm guessing a lot of people thinking that I want to buy his underpants off eBay. I said he'd be the heir to Fabinho. Since this video was published in December 2021, he's played a grand total of 0 minutes in the Prem. I've played as many Premier League minutes as him since then. The bird in the tree outside has featured the match of the day as much as he has. The heir to Fabinho. Really weird because Fabinho was bought from a French club, right? Morton has just signed for a French club, joining Lyon for £15 million. Boy, do I wish it would have been Monaco came in for Morton this summer, because then this whole heir to Fabinho chatter might have made some bit of sense. But no, instead this sounds about as nutty as if I told you that I'm gonna marry my thumb. Please let this be the last time I ever mention Tyler Morton. Honestly, even I'm a bit creeped out.
Man City, Gavin Bazunu. Gavin Bazunu is the future of Manchester City. Trust me, next autumn this man will be 20 years of age and playing every match for Man City in the EFL Cup. And yes, Edison will pick up a senseless red card after Halloween, meaning that Bazunu is going to make his Premier League debut for Manchester City.
Alright, I've since met Gavin Bazunu. Last Christmas, I'm not even sure why I was there to watch Chelsea versus Shamrock Rovers. But I was, and I bumped into this goalie after the match. He was there with his agent, and I shook his hand and asked him to come to Newcastle. We've since signed the other Southampton goalie instead. Of course. Just do the opposite of what I say. But yeah, he seemed like a lovely, smiley, happy guy. So I'm happy that I was gassing him up in the past and not comparing him to a fat toad. But I do think I've cursed his career because I said he'd be the heir to Ederson, that he'd come back to be on the Man City bench for a world-class goalkeeper. Yeah, everything I've described about a Man City Academy goalie be given that chance, that opportunity, that's all being handed to James Trafford instead. Bazunu moves to Southampton, is relegated, is out for a year with an injury, gets loaned to Belgium, loses his Ireland #1 spot, and has finally reclaimed his starting position for Southampton, but in the Championship. And I said he'd be on Man City's bench. Next.
Man United showed a short tire. Well, this has to be the year for Shola short tire, right? Yeah, he's going to score a few goals for Man United. I'm predicting he'll score a few goals in the Cups. He'll score his first Premier League goal. Yeah, he'll have a good year.
He'll have a good year. Have a good year. Right. Good year, is it? And of course, the minute I say this Geordie winger, who was clearly named after Amiobi in 2004, he had just 15 minutes for Manchester United left in the tank. Thrown in for a last day cameo in a defeat at Crystal Palace. Was then loaned to Bolton, then given to PAOK in Greece on a free transfer. And just last week, at the age of 21, this exciting winger, somebody who became Manchester United's youngest ever player to feature in a European competition, making his Europa League debut just 3 weeks after his 17th birthday. He'd just been loaned to PEC Zwolle in Holland. Lads, this guy was Man United's very own Rio Ngamoa in the Solskjaer days. He was a hidden gem. I remember feeling jealous that he was ripped out of Newcastle's academy. Yeah, I'm not jealous now. It would be like suddenly being jealous of your classmate, opening up his lunchbox to reveal a dead pheasant. Yeah, I think I'll just stick to my Mars bar, thanks.
Newcastle Ryan Fraser. But I think next year, under his old boss Eddie Howe, playing in a team with reinforcements, I think he's going to be one of the most improved players in the league. Trust me, we are about to witness the rebirth of Ryan Fraser.
No. You know who I should have said? Dan Burn, who has absolutely been the breakout 18-star at Newcastle United. Seriously, against all odds, he scored in the Wembley Cup final and now plays for England. And guess what? He's probably going to go to the next World Cup. And guess what? He's probably going to start, which is utter madness. But no, I plumped for Ryan Fraser, who just did the opposite of Burn, because he very quickly got frozen out of the Newcastle first team and banished to the under 21s, probably because Eddie Howe still holds a grudge against him for opting out of a relegation battle with Bournemouth to protect his ankles ahead of a free transfer. I mean, Fraser thought he's going to Arsenal. Isn't that just cute? It's like me thinking I'm going bowling with Santa Claus. Yeah, Fraser has since been relegated while sitting on Southampton's bench for a team who put up 12 points all season.
Norwich, Andrew Ahmedabedi. Okay, let's be honest, Norwich City are getting relegated. But I think under Dean Smith, this 19-year-old centre-half will establish himself as first choice in the Norwich defence in the Championship. And yeah, he's going to have a £20 million price tag slapped in his face. Just you watch.
Well, this is half right. Literally, because yes, he did cement a starting spot for Norwich in the Championship, and the Irish centre-half was sold to Nottingham Forest for a hefty 11 million quid. But he barely played and has since been sold to Strasbourg in France. And now, considering that club are now just Chelsea's dumping ground for unwanted pricey rubbish, yeah, he now struggles to get in the team.
Southampton, Kegs, Chalk. Yeah, Steer, Kegs, Chalk, I guess. I don't know. Next.
Kegs, chalk? What on earth is a keg's chalk? It sounds like materials you'd need to build a bathroom. He's a 22-year-old midfielder apparently who never played for Southampton and has since moved to Burton Albion. But hey, at least he made his debut for the South Africa under-23s.
Tottenham Dane Scarlet. Trust me, I can see it. He's gonna make his England debut. He will score about 10 Premier League goals at the end of 2022. He could go to Qatar. Honestly, he could be like what Theo Walcott was in 2006. This is the year of Dane Scarlet.
He scored 1 goal since, against Elfsborg in the Europa League last year. Lads, Jose Mourinho told us all that Dane Scarlett was a phenomenal young footballer. That was 4 years ago. He's now still pretty young at 21, sure, but he's since been on to Portsmouth, Ipswich, and Oxford United, where he's never been prolific. He's got 12 goals in club football. I said he'd be an England international by now. I said he might have been at the last World Cup. Yeah, we're at a stage now where if Scarlett goes to any World Cup, then I will wash my hair with Lucozade every day for a month.
Watford, João Pedro. But yeah, Watford love to nurture a young Brazilian. Clearly they're going to try and mold this guy into the next Richarlison. And yeah, I think he'll impress in the second half of the season. Smash in a few more goals before getting a summer move to Everton. Yeah.
I'm quite pleased with this one. I said João Pedro was going to be the next Richarlison. No, he's far better than that. 8 months after I made this video, Newcastle tried to buy him. He goes to Brighton instead for a hefty £20 million. Rips it up on the south coast, earns a £60 million switch to Chelsea after Newcastle once again tried to buy him. He cut his holiday short to go and become a world champion instead. And lads, I think this 23-year-old is going to be so excellent at Stamford Bridge that he's going to have a £100 million price tag by next summer. I think he's going to be Chelsea's best striker since Diego Costa. And that was yonks ago. This is a good one.
West Ham, Harrison Ashby. Yeah, here you've got a 20-year-old right back who's been at West Ham since the age of 9. I mean, this won't be a stunning year where he's going to break the sport. He's not going to become a worldwide star overnight. I don't know. 10 Premier League starts before the year is out? Why not?
Didn't play a single match. Was sold to Newcastle shortly after for £3 million. And really weird because it's nearly 3 years later and he's still yet to make his Magpies debut. Loaned to Swansea and QPR. I genuinely think this 23-year-old right back leaves Newcastle without ever having been seen on the pitch, which is just a crazily weird waste of time.
Wolves, Chem Campbell. Remember the name Chem Campbell. Just remember it. Remember that name.
Don't bother. He plays for Stevenage now. So there you have it. Was I right? Look, I think Martinelli, Collins, Eze, Cresswell, Dewsbury Hall, and Pedro were all very good shouts. But no, everything else proves that I'm about as much a talent coach as you are a cannibal clown. Anyway, that's the video. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments. Enjoy the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll talk to you in a while.